as I said yesterday, many plains, or prairies, or whatever the heck you call it. Anyway, a lot of flat scenery. There are some trees, it turns out. They have them here, and bodies of water. I thought all they had here was deer, like a couple trash cans, and some grass. So we drove for about 6 or 7 hours yesterday. We got to a campsite. I don't honestly remember what it was called. It's actually pretty nice. It's a long-term campsite that's something like $30 a night. And when I say long-term, I mean it seems like there are a lot of long-term campers there because there's a season pass that's something stupid cheap for, I don't know if it's annual or what the deal is. It doesn't really matter. But there are a lot of people there with their really nice RVs, their pull-behinds. They have what looks like a little more permanent setup. I think in one case there was actually a deck built. So that actually worked out pretty well. We didn't go full on with our camp setup. We didn't put the tarp up in between the two cars like we normally do. And we got dinner made. True was nice enough to make sandwiches with the greens and the locally sourced jam that we had. It's a spicy peach jam, I want to say. Really good. We didn't have much daylight left. And then this morning, I was rummaging through the rooftop bag, and noticed that anytime I tried to close it, the zipper would not actually close. It wasn't hooking correctly. So I had the genius idea of trying to unzip it all the way and realign it somehow, which clearly I don't understand how zippers work, because that just meant that the whole thing wouldn't zip back up then. So we had to rearrange gear between my car and Drew's car. And, I'm using his online username. Not all of it, but I'm using part of his online username because he doesn't really care. I was being paranoid, but it doesn't really matter. So we are about an hour's drive away from Regina, Saskatchewan, where we're going to stop at a Walmart Supercenter, and if they don't have it, stop at one of the other Walmarts there. If they don't have it, we're going to stop at either a Home Depot or a Canadian Tire. All hail Steve. But we're going to look for another rooftop bag because I've got two more provinces to drive through, which are both larger than Saskatchewan, or wider than Saskatchewan, Ontario, and whatever, Canadian geography, insert that here. Anyway, since True is not going to be able to join me for the entire adventure, at some point, I'm going to have to be able to haul all of my stuff. It's fine for the time being that he carries some of my stuff in his car, but I'm probably either going to have to get this replacement rooftop bag or start making some hard decisions. Like, do I really need my backpacking pack? Oh, absolutely. But do I need 16 canisters of fuel? Probably not. So I might actually send that home with him. I also recently had to spend $170 on a cooler because the coolers I brought suck. They're awful. So we went to Canadian Tire yesterday and got me a fancy new ultra insulated, still fairly small cooler that I can bring on road trips in my micro camper from now on. I got a bag of ice yesterday, and it's still mostly frozen. It's really freaking cool. So anyway, that was a whole misadventure. It seems like days on the road, you can't really go too long without having some kind of misadventure, but if you have the right attitude about it, then it makes life a lot better still. Like, if you can't help something, if you can't actually fix it, if you can't do anything about it, then don't stress, just come up with a solution, I suppose. So I did learn that lesson quite a while ago, and it's been very, very helpful on this road trip. We sat last night, was really nice. There was no light pollution. We sat around our version of a campfire, which was pretty much just running a canister of cook stove fuel out on the cook stove and sitting around it and warming our hands, because while it can be very warm during the day in Saskatchewan, weirdly, it can be very, very cold at night. And like, okay, mind you, it was something like 42 degrees Fahrenheit, which is numbers Celsius, I don't know, maybe look it up later if I feel like being that particular, but I think True said it was like 2 degrees Celsius last night. Anyway, that wouldn't seem very cold to me in Alaska during the day. That's the thing. But here at night, I mean, when I started warming back up, it was like my hands were thawing out after being in the beginning stages of hypothermia. Like, they were burning as they were reheating, which if you look into that, that's one of the things that can happen. So yeah, it was crazy. We saw absolutely gorgeous stars with the lack of light pollution. We even suffered through, I'd say, 15-20 minutes more of the cold when my hands had already started going like ow level cold and to sit and get some long exposures for the stars, which it turns out only True's phone can really do that. Now I have two phones, neither of them can do that, and sit there and stargaze and look at what turned out to be satellites. But I think I maybe saw a shooting star once, but it was all, of course, it's always out of the corner of my eye, so I can never really be sure. So today's agenda, we are planning, like I said, going and getting another rooftop bag, hoping and praying, for one, that they have them, and for two, that it actually works for my car. So they say universal. We'll see how universal these things are. And we're gonna get our oil changed because True is a responsible boy, and he is concerned about stretching the limits of that too far. So, you know, since we've already had this mishap, we're probably just going to do like something like literally an hour's worth of driving today to get to Regina, and then find a hotel, bring our stuff in, get our cars to an oil change service, and hang out and do some research, because we were actually planning on going backpacking at some point too. I mean, I brought these backpacks at this point 3,129 miles with me, so if we don't go backpacking, I will probably bludgeon him with one. I mean, one of them is an external aluminum frame, the other one is an internal frame, so depending on how mad I am, that'll determine which one I use. Well, we're gonna go. It's gonna be fine. Apparently there are places to backpack around where my buddy Tim lives, or where we're gonna end up, somewhere in Manitoba, I guess. I don't know. To me, the idea of Plainsland having anything worth backpacking to is odd. So, yeah. But hopefully we're in for another kind of chill, relaxing day where we can regroup, gather our thoughts, get a plan in motion, and then get up bright and early tomorrow at the crack of like maybe 10 in the morning or something. Oh shoot, someone managed to crash their car on a flat everything really. Anyway, yeah, so we'll have a nice relaxing day, which I could go for at this point, and have ourselves an adventure later. I'm not really sure how far Drew's going to make it before he has to turn around, but he says it's going to take about 4 days for him to drive home, so that's got to factor in. And then once I'm done getting the canoe and I've flipped back around, then I might be able to visit a couple of my friends, come through. I'm going to be going through Edmonton anyway, so I'll be able to see Drew again. And yeah, it's just been, oh, we're in Moose Jaw now. You get stream of consciousness, Naya, today. It's pretty much every day, honestly. But yeah, I'm running out of things to say. I've worked on my blanket a little bit more. I finished up yarn ball number 2. I'm on to yarn ball number 3. I've just basically been going until my fingers get too cold, and I've been alternating warming my hands up and knitting, warming my hands up and knitting. And here soon enough I'm going to have to find a local yarn store and get myself another ball of yarn. I've been looking for superwash, merino, chunky, chunky being like the weight of yarn, and hand dyed, because I'm a fancy knitter. You know how I do. I do not spare any expenses, and if husband man is watching this, it's totally only going to cost $1. Okay, now I think I really am out of stuff to say, so peace until next time.